Good morning. TJ is hooking up the trailer to our new truck out there. So might have a little bit of background noise while he does that. It is 7:30 this morning. We are in Salt Lake City, and the real reason we are in Salt Lake is because we are bringing our trailer into Bish's RV to get some work done on it. We've learned a lot of things this last month about RVing. I definitely did a lot of research like for the month and a half before we actually moved in, but prior to that, not a lot of research was done on either of our ends as to what exactly we're getting into, or just kind of like the small logistics of it all. So one thing we got really lucky with is the fact that we actually did get our RV from a reputable place. And so we are getting all loaded up right now, and we are going to go head over to Bish's and get some stuff done and share with you what we were getting done, why we're getting it done, and also we have asked them, and they said that we were okay, to film and get some other tips. So we were planning on asking them some questions about just general RV things, maintenance, kind of some how-tos, and we're going to get that recorded to share, since we were very bad about recording when we picked up the RV and people were sad about that. So we're gonna record the maintenance today and information, and hopefully it helps other people as well. We are Natalie, TJ, and the bold and brave Camo Dog. 3 adventurers from Colorado who are on a mission to unearth this country's beauty as we travel in our towable home. We spent the last year navigating and exploring the Atlantic and Caribbean oceans, but now we are shifting gears to life on the road. Welcome to Adventures of a Lifetime. Those are some big RVs. They make us look so little.
Those are huge.
Okay, so we are here. We have arrived at Bish's RV. We had a very nice short drive this morning. We're gonna get a few things fixed, and we have pre-asked to have some people who don't mind being on camera and YouTube. So they're over here ready to meet us, and we can get our stuff worked on. Hi.
Hello.
I'm Natalie.
Tyson, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is Darren, our
Hi,
technician.
Hi, Darren. Nice to meet you too. This
Hey
is
guys,
TJ.
I'm TJ. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Nice
I'm
to meet
the
you.
service writer here, and this is our technician.
Perfect. You guys are gonna get us all fixed up.
Yes,
You're gonna
ma'am.
fix our problems?
Yes, sir. We're
We
gonna
got a
get you
whole
right back on
list
the
of
road.
them.
Let's go check them out.
Okay, we'll go show you what we have going on. We have Camo in the car as well, who'll be joining us.
All right, guys. So what we should do is we're gonna go over the list real quick. Let's go get. I want to call Mac over. He'll go ahead and put this in the bay, and then we'll have you guys go through, and then.
That's my home, you drive safe.
So we just got to Bish's, and they are taking our trailer to the service area. We unhooked, we're ready to go, and while they get all set up over there, I wanted to let everyone know that we are doing a giveaway with Bish. It's a $1,000 giveaway, which is so incredible. We partnered together to give away some of our favorite things that we love and use all the time. So we love being off-grid. So in this package, it is amazing things for traveling and being off-grid, including a $600 solar panel. We have an Anderson duffel full of chalks and leveling kits and great things to help you get balanced and level when you're out parking and off-grid, as well as a National Parks Pass. We have some camping gear and some other swag in there. So it will be in the description of this video. You'll see it. It's www.bishes.com/adventures. And you go to that page and you enter your email and a few other things, and you can be entered for the giveaway. It will get wrapped up in December, so great for a Christmas or holiday present. And if you go in there and enter, hopefully you win, because who doesn't want a free solar panel? I do.
Is this like a common failure you see a lot?
Not super common. It's not that uncommon though either, because it's just the line gets pitched in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my one thing I never wanted, is water inside. And I was like, no, we have water inside. So what is the 2 different hoses here?
So this one here is your fill for the fresh tank. So it's basically a gravity fill. So as you put water in, the water just falls straight down through this tube into the tank itself. And then this tube here is the overflow slash, or essentially the air flow tube.
Okay, so that lets the air out.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't have like a whole like suction of. Okay, gotcha. I really hope this water tank issue is easy.
I think it should be.
All of our cranks are getting a little bit harder to do. Do we just need like WD-40 on it on all of them, or like what do you do
You don't
for?
want to use WD-40 at all for any sealants.
Okay.
The reason why, it actually gums up and makes it worse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, at first it works great, right? But after time, I mean, these things are traveling down dirt roads and debris and whatnot gets in those little cracks, and it just binds things up after.
So we're just better off washing them
Dry
off.
silicone spray.
Dry silicone spray.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, what you guys really need to look out for, the most important thing is your roof.
Okay.
As long as you guys are putting the right treatments, keeping up with the sealants, your roof's going to last a long time. Okay, you're not going to have any issues with it.
Okay.
So what you need to do, in the climate, you guys live in Colorado, right?
Yeah, we're gonna kind of be all over though. So
all over the place. So
yeah.
where it's going to get dry and wet everywhere, right? So these sealants, they like to crack a lot easier.
Okay.
So every 90 days, I get up on top of the roof and I make sure I fill in all those voids, right? If there's any cracks or anything.
90 days.
Every 90 days.
Okay.
They tell you it's an annual thing, and you might be able to get away with it.
But
for
like,
that long.
why
Just
risk it?
Yeah, just at least look.
Okay.
Because I mean, one little crack in a void will get down in some wood, and you just don't want that to happen.
Okay.
So yeah, every 90 days, hop up there. If there's any voids, right now it's a really new trailer.
Yeah.
So right now, if you do get a crack, just fill it in.
Okay. With what?
So you have an EPDM rubber roof. So
Okay.
there's actually Dicor inside that applies to that. It's called a self-leveling sealant.
Okay.
So I'll show you guys that so you
Okay.
can use it. Just
Is
keep
it
a tube
different
with
from
you.
trailer to trailer, or does?
No, usually I would say about 70% of RVs do have that EPDM rubber roof.
Okay.
Unless it's like a big motorhome, it's fiberglass or something, right?
Okay.
But typically, yeah, it's your rubber roofs.
Okay.
After a few years, you're going to notice after you keep avoiding those cracks, those sealants are going to start building up, right? You're going to get, a good ½ inch to an inch. Eventually, if they get that tall, you need to re-scrape the whole thing, like take off all the old sealant and then reapply new sealant.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So yeah, you just don't want to keep getting it bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to look ugly and stuff like that.
And can an individual do that, or do you
Yes.
recommend a?
No, I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
You
you
can
guys
do
easily do that. All you need is like a putty scraper, to easily get off the old sealant. And then just basically kind of prep it again. You can use Dawn or something like that, even like a rubber prep and whatnot, and then just go ahead and reseal it after that.
What else do you think you should do every 90 days?
This is what I recommend. This is an annual thing as well to change out your guys' anode rod.
Okay.
So
Annual.
what this
I
anode
was
rod-
wondering how often that was gonna go.
Yeah, if you have bad water or you go to Vegas somewhere, it just has terrible water, I've seen these go bad within a couple months.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. What this does, as it breaks itself down, it protects the inner wall of that lining. Yeah,
So how do
I
we-
always check that. You just pull this out right here, just with the wrench.
Perfect.
And I'm guessing you would always take the water out of the heater before you do that, so you don't burn yourself.
Yes.
TJ used to work in HVAC, so he's very well accustomed to
For
all
you
those
who've never done that.
all those do not do's.
Oh,
There will be hot water
it is
in there.
scalding.
Okay, so also sealant on the side, like the windows and stuff. So what you're going to want to use for these is like a white, a clear silicone for the windows. You
Okay.
can sell that in there too, just in a caulking tube.
Okay.
And same thing with that. I would probably check these, every 6 months to a year.
Okay.
And just make sure you're reapplying that sealant over it so you don't
And
get
how do you
leaks.
check these? You just pour water over the top of it and see if it is coming in?
Do a little hose real quick,
Okay.
But seal it up first before you do that test.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't do the test just to see if you got a leak. Just seal it up first, right?
Okay.
Okay. Test, just in case you don't want to ruin anything.
Right.
So just like every year do that, and
Yeah.
then after a while you're gonna have to scrape it off.
Yep.
What else is are you thinking for a good like 3-month check?
A lot of these appliances, look, that if something happens to them, it's because they're mostly dirty.
Okay.
So basically, what I like to do is I bring some compressed air with me, like a little portable tank,
Mm-hmm.
and just an air chuck. And I just make sure I blow out all my burner tubes and everything, because if there's any
Ours
debris
looks
in
like
here,
we have
yeah,
we
there's
need
a
it.
little, you got a little bit in there. Yeah, we'll have Darren go ahead and just pull
got a
that
little
off.
bit of
Okay.
stuff in there.
But you're going down dirt roads and things like that. You know, there's certain cell switches and things in these appliances to where they need to be clean.
Okay.
You know, constantly, because if not, they're sticking a little bit and the components won't work.
Okay.
So
This is
that
such
is
great
huge.
information.
Yeah,
These
that's
are all things that like
I never would have thought of.
I wouldn't have thought of honestly
Yeah,
any of
crazy
these
thing
things.
is that, and I'll show you these things in the parts area too, because a lot of these insects, they love wet places and propane. That's where they like to nest.
Propane.
Yes, yeah, that smell. And
Really?
yes, and then also, yeah, just wet places, they just love to nest in there. So you can go ahead and get these little grates, little mesh like protectors, that way like insects can't
Things
get
don't
Go in there.
Yeah, so that's a big one.
Okay.
I've heard it's more of an issue if you're stationary than if they're moving. Have you found that to be true or no?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
If you're more stationarians living in and whatnot, I mean, they have more time to nest, right?
Okay.
But if you're only a couple days, probably not.
Probably not,
I've never had one build up on me in a 3-4 day period, no.
Okay.
But yeah, it's usually when it's sitting or something like that or what, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, every appliance has burner tubes, right? So the back of the fridge, this is what they call a baffle, and this is basically where the burning operation happens, is in this corner. So you can actually pull these panels back, and there's these little burner tubes that are in there. You can probably actually see the blue flame in there now.
Oh yeah,
Saying
I
that
can
it's
see
lit.
it. Yep.
That just shows you that the fridge is working correctly.
Okay.
But you want to make sure that it's clean constantly.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
Make sure that what's clean, like that area back there.
yeah,
Okay.
just all the burnout right here. Like
Okay.
basically, just want to make sure that all this
All
debris
this.
is blown out, and just make sure there's nothing in there.
So what is this from? This is just from like the pilot light being on inside of there?
Yeah, it's just little things, and then stuff maybe just getting in up, maybe
And then it
go
just
through
burns
too,
it?
through the vent and whatnot. But
Okay.
no, this isn't really anything from the burning operation. This is just something coming from your vent. Same thing with the water heater. Yeah, you just want to make sure that you blow out the burner tube, stuff like that. And then this one down here, this is where the burning operation in your igniter is.
Okay.
So in that chamber, you want to make sure that's, you know, no insects, nothing in there.
Okay.
Because if it does, you'll even see a little flame coming out, like a little combustion, if
Wow.
there is stuff in there.
Oh, they'll be burning.
Yeah. So
Little
that's
ants.
how you'll know.
Little
So-
ants walking into the fire.
Right, yeah. But yeah, just as long as you guys keep that stuff clean, you're not gonna have any problems. Awesome.
Okay. It's just like the 5 minutes of preventative saves
yeah,
you a lot of
yeah, I'm telling you,
issues.
it's
That's
so
what we
much
like to
time and
do.
money.
We are.
So much
I
time
don't
and
want to
money.
fix a whole big issue. I like to
Nice.
just do like little things.
Fix it over time.
You know, I feel bad because these customers come in and it's like, you know, they just don't clean them that well.
And then there's
you know,
bigger issues.
Yeah, and they're paying me money for something they could have done, like you said, for 5 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
So-
This is our little shop dog. Oh, yes, he's very friendly today, too. Some days he doesn't want to hang out with anybody, but today you're very friendly doggy. He's saying hello to everybody. Oh, I scratch it.
Oh, I've got a big question.
Yeah, what's up?
What are your must-have tools while on the
Must-have
road?
Tools on the road. So what I like to bring is like an impact wrench or an impact gun. So just in case like, you got a flat tire or something, you don't want to be sitting there with the hand crank and you know, regardless you got to jack it up. But just to get the tire off really quick. You
Okay.
know, I was coming down Parley's with one of my rentals and I had my impact wrench with me. And I was able to change out a tire within 22 minutes.
Wow.
I timed it, and by like semis going right past my face, but it wasn't that fun. But just that conveniency of doing it fast and trying to be safe as possible. What Darren was saying right here, so this is a 3/4 inch. So if you had like a speed socket or something like that with that impact wrench, so you can just hurry and zip these down when you guys get there.
to get it. We
Instead of doing this forever and you're
Oh.
sweating like crazy.
I love that. That's my workout.
There, you know what? If that's what you want to do. But all right, guys.
What are our bearing packs?
So bearing pack, what that is it's an annual thing too that you guys need to get done. And basically what you're doing is taking the old grease out of the bearings that are by the axle that connect to it, and because over time it gets black, you know, and so you need to change that out.
Do you do this on cars too? Is it supposed to be happening on cars? Or
Mostly on
just trailers?
boats and trailers.
Boats?
Yeah.
Where are they?
But some of them have, you know, Dexter axles and things like that where you don't have to do that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So most of them it's really trailers.
Okay.
But yeah, every year you need to take that old grease out, and we do bearing packs here. I mean, any RV place does an RV bearing pack.
Okay.
And
Is that
definitely-
like a mileage thing as well? Like if we go
Yeah,
a
you know,
lot,
they say every 5,000 miles get it checked.
Okay.
Yeah, every 5,000 miles or at least annually.
Wow. Okay. We'll be there quick.
So the thing is, you just don't want to have grease sit. That's the worst, you know.
Okay.
Obviously, you guys are traveling, it's moving, that's good.
Okay.
But yeah, if you let it sit at all, that's when it gets starts to get that blackness to it. Yeah,
Okay.
it gets thick and everything.
And then
Okay.
it makes the wheel not spin as freely. Is that what it is?
Exactly. I mean,
Okay.
it still spins freely, but I mean, eventually, if you don't like change the bearing packs out, some of them blow seals out and stuff like that.
So you would just pull this off,
Yes.
and then where would you find the bearings behind
So
this?
you would pull this cap off first. It's like a decorative cap, right?
Okay.
And then we would take this whole rim and tire off, okay? And then after that, you're going to see the bearings. You're going to see, well, the bearing won't be there. You'll have to actually take a couple nuts off to get to those bearings. There's an inner and outer bearing on every axle
Okay.
on each side, okay? So both of those bearings we take out, we inspect them, make sure there's no like any rubbing on them or anything, no, you know, scrapes, those type of things. And we just basically push out the old grease, put new grease back in the bearings, re-put them, reinstall them back on the axle, and then put the nuts back on and just re-apply the tire to it.
Gotcha.
And this is
Wow.
one that you recommend a professional does.
You know, yeah.
It
I mean,
sounds
if
a
you
little
guys haven't done
complicated.
it before, like
Yeah.
even our techs that like our newer techs that are doing it, it takes a few hours to do.
Okay.
And it's a
Wow.
messy job. So
Yeah, just one that you'd rather.
yeah, you got to have like just the right rack, just everything set up to do it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not get messy. So
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
that
really
one's
good to
huge.
know.
That was a good
Awesome.
safety one.
Literally every single thing you've mentioned are things that we did not know about.
Well, good. I'm glad I got
Every
it.
single thing, man. There's not been a single thing that he's mentioned, right? That we knew. Maybe like to check for leaks, but like I don't know, just not. We haven't known.
I would have said the anode rod, but I wouldn't have thought that quickly.
Yeah.
Okay,
So this is
and
all
then
been
I want
great.
to teach you guys about winterization because that's huge.
Okay.
So when you guys go to winterize it, okay, the best thing to do, a lot of people like to blow out the system just with air.
Uh-huh.
I don't like to do that.
So then, how do you
But
do it the right way?
winterization, though, so what you do is you want to drain all your tanks. So your freshwater tank, you'll literally pull this valve right here, okay? That's your low point drain for your freshwater tank. So you're going to be pulling that, and then also what you're going to be doing is the water heater as well.
Okay.
So you pull that anode rod out, and then you'll let that water heater drain, and then you'll leave that just open, that tank, so you know the air can just kind of dry itself out from the inside.
And then do
Okay.
you go to these back lines too?
Yeah. But basically what you do is you take those caps off and the anode rod, and then when I leave for winterization, I just leave the anode rod and my caps right here so that you don't lose them.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you leave that open, your freshwater tank open, and your low point drain's open too.
Okay.
Or, excuse me, I apologize. Not the low point drain. You'll drain the water out first. You'll
Okay.
put your caps back on, and then we'll fill all the lines with the antifreeze. So that way, no matter what, it's going to guarantee your system.
So that's how you don't have the issue of blowing out the lines and everything. It's cracked, put antifreeze in there so it can't freeze.
Yeah.
So we made a list of questions, and we've covered a lot of them honestly so far too. But one other one, which we kind of covered already, is what is the most common places to find water leaks, and how often should you check all of those places, and what are the best things you can do if there is a sizable water leak? So we talked about like the windows and the roof.
Right. And you know, and like I was kind of talking about before with the winterization, these plastic valves, right? So honestly, the most where I see a water leak coming from is the water valve in the back of the toilet.
Okay.
They're not brass valves, you know, they're just plastic and they wiggle around and whatnot.
Okay.
Especially right after winterization.
So where does that leak? Does that leak inside?
It's inside right behind the toilet.
Okay, so you'll
and
see it like on the bathroom
yes,
floor?
you'll see it, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you'll visually see it, but
You'll probably
that's
smell it,
typically...
too?
Not smell it, because that's fresh water going
Oh,
through that
okay.
valve first, right, before it gets drained.
Uh-huh.
So, nah, you won't get a bad smell like
Okay.
that,
That's good.
but yeah, those things, for some reason, they just haven't really made like great valves yet, but they're plastic. That's where you usually see your water leaks coming from
Okay.
first. But other than that, I would just keep your eye on everything, like all the fittings underneath, like your sinks and your showers, like the P-traps,
Okay.
because, you know, you're driving down the road, it's vibrating, so they will get loose.
How do we get to our shower one?
So,
Do you know?
yeah, let's go inside.
Okay.
All right, so right here, this is an access panel that goes right below the drain.
Oh, okay.
So this is where, you know, yeah, some of those P-traps might get loose over time. So you just need to make sure you tighten those up. Underneath the sink as well, you have a P-trap. And just fittings and stuff like that. So you just want to make sure they're all airtight.
Okay.
Okay.
And same thing with underneath your bathroom sink too. So
Okay.
that's where you should always be checking for leaks. That's where they come mostly
That could be
from.
our like 3-month
Yeah.
checklist.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, our water heater
So
is
that one
below that
you will
panel.
have your access panel right here for the water heater. So yeah, when you
So
go to
how-
winterize this thing, you just need to make sure that you bypass the water heater.
Okay.
And how you do that, so there's usually 3 valves back here. So you have a hot line, which is a red line,
Okay.
and then also a blue line that goes in the bottom. And then there's also a mixer valve in the middle too, okay?
Okay.
And what that middle one does, it just separates from the hot and cold so they don't get mixed, right? So they don't get lukewarm water, you'll get your hot and cold when you need it. So yeah, when you go to winterize the unit, you'll just go ahead and turn those valves just a half a turn of what they currently are right now.
Okay.
So you'll shut off
Like a half a turn to the right, I'm assuming? Righty-tighty?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. But basically the middle valve just needs to be parallel with the line to
Okay.
bypass it. And then the other ones will need to be perpendicular. That's how it shuts it off.
Okay.
Okay? But if you guys come through or whatnot, you know, whoever you guys are going to get your winterization done,
Yeah.
have them show you that.
Okay.
You
That
know.
seems a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, you know.
Because like, probably one of those things, like, once you've done
you
it
get
once,
yeah, exactly.
you're fine, but
You'll know
until
that,
you
yeah.
do it, it's kind of a process.
All right, so I want to tell you guys about the air conditioner, and just make sure you're keeping that clean, especially if you guys are going to be traveling from state to state, different humidities, things like that.
Yeah.
So I would probably check that every couple months at least.
Add it to our 3-month checklist.
Yeah, just your 3-month
We
checklist.
got a
That's
big
what I
3-month
call
checklist.
it. You know, I'm telling you, if you stay ahead of it, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But what you need to do, so the filters from the distribution box on the inside, you can actually take those down
Okay.
and just clean them. Wash them up and then let them dry first before you put them back up.
Okay.
It's got a beehive in here.
There's a
First I thought
beehive?
it was some weeds. I went to brush. I'm like, ooh, beehive.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're gonna go inside and then he's gonna show us like the sealants.
Sorry guys, we
Oh,
kinda
we have a water. He's gonna show us like what sealants we need and the proper materials and the tubes and all the good products that we need because we don't have any of it.
Nope.
We're just driving around, all careless and reckless.
First row. So those little covers that I was telling you about, so they don't, insects.
So those wasps we just saw there, so they don't go inside.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay.
those are good to have. And
Okay.
then this is that self-leveling sealant that I was talking to you about. So, and I'll tell you the color in here. You guys are going to need a white color.
Okay, we probably should just grab this as we go and we'll just put it up the counter, right? And we'll just get this at the end.
So this is the stuff that you guys want to use. This is
Okay.
what the color of your roof is.
Okay, this is the
Yep. And
Okay, the
this is a lap
self-
sealant self-leveling, and then you just always check the color to make sure you're right.
okay.
And then, so that's the one you want on top, and then this is the one on the side. This is the non-sag,
Okay.
non-leveling.
Okay.
Okay, and that's
So
your
that won't-
your compartment doors, those types of things. That's what you're going to use.
Okay.
Around the windows, use like a clear silicone, and that's what you would use. Let's see, with one of these. Let me see what.
I think I
color
have a gun at home too for this. I
Oh,
don't think I have
Caulking
one.
gun,
Yeah, I don't think I have a
But like
Caulking
this
gun with
clear
us.
silicone right here.
Okay.
So
That's
Actually,
for the
I have
windows?
that at home.
yeah, yep. I
I
use
think I
that
have
for
a
the
clear
windows.
silicone.
You can use that for a lot of other things too on the side. You don't have to use this non-sag stuff, but
Okay.
it just holds its position a little bit better, I think.
Okay.
But that'll kind of give you more of a rubberized bead too. So it just kind of depends what you want to do. So this is what they call the dry lube.
Oh, what we need for all of our.
Yeah,
The cranks.
This is a lock one. I really wish there was like. Let me go look in the back to actually show you like a silicone spray that
Okay.
we usually use. This one's good for locks though. Really good.
Okay. So we are almost wrapped up getting all of our work done. It has been not even 2 hours, so that has been very, very quick and fast, thankfully. We have learned so much. We literally did not have a single item that he told us we should have.
I know, honestly.
We had like some of the tools. Besides tools, we didn't have anything.
Yeah,
So
I would have never crawled up on the roof like that.
Yeah, so we have a whole bunch of things that we know we need now, and so what we're going to do also just to make it easier for ourselves and for everyone else is we're going to put together a document of all the things that they mentioned today to check and do like our 3-month check and like our yearly check, and we're going to put it in the link below. It's www.bishes.com/adventures, and you can go there and we'll have the document for like all the things that you should be checking on the RV. And luckily today, everything we've had done is warranty work, so we don't have to pay for anything, which is fabulous. But the other nice thing is when we got our travel trailer is that they give you a free year of their Diamond Club included, and that like gives us money off of any labor we have to get done as well, and roadside assistance and questions and comments, which we actually did have to use it once when we had a little issue with the black water flush, and you were able to call and get some help on how to fix that, so that was helpful.
Yeah, it was nice.
But yeah, luckily today is free, so that is very nice. I guess we're gonna go, they're finishing up some like caulking and things like that, and then we're gonna go do our little final walkthrough of it and ask them a few questions about our hitch, because we're still learning the hitch stuff, and then we'll be good to go and back on our way and figure out what we're doing today. We were just talking about like warranty and getting things done, and like what do you do if like you have to fix something, like our water issue, like we were kind of worried, like what if we have to fill up with water and put somewhere we can't fix it, and so we were kind of discussing like what do you do.
Yeah, the best thing for you to do is, so if anything happens, when and obviously when these things happen, you're going to be at a campground or you're going to be off the grid somewhere. So the best thing to do, so say if you had that water leak like you were experiencing before, hurry and stop what you're doing. Hurry and turn off the water pump, obviously, but you want to take a picture or video. Just that way it notes what's going on for Forest River. Because I'd hate for you to come all the way down here and all of a sudden it doesn't show a leak. That's the type of things that Forest River need to know just to get things approved. So always just stop what you're doing, hurry and take a picture and photo of what's going on if you have an issue. That way it timestamps everything and what's going on.
Or any manufacturer for that point.
Any manufacturer, not just Forest River, that's every manufacturer.
Okay.
So everything is all fixed up. We have reattached the trailer to the truck, pulled it outside, and now we're gonna have our like closing overview of everything that that they fixed for us very nicely, and just kind of go over what the changes were and what the fixes were, and then we're on our way.
Cool.
So
You initially said that this was leaking on the
Yeah.
inside, so what we did is remove the screws, pulled that away from the wall, disconnected the hoses that were back there, as well as the air tube that was back there as well. Cut the air tube, removed the hose clamp securing the water line, pulled it away, inspected this on the back side of the housing to make sure there's no cracks, ran some water through the hose itself to make sure there was no leaking through there. So we didn't find anything.
It seemed to be good for now.
Thinking it
Good.
was probably just the hose clamp being loose. So we reclamped the air hose back on, used the hose clamp, clamped that back on, and I actually removed the foam gasket that was on the back side of this that was water sealing it and replaced it with a putty tape, which is basically a rubbery material that's going to seal it a lot better, and then put the screws back in and then seal it around the top edge with the silicone.
Look at that.
That is professional.
Class A right there.
So,
This looks so nice.
yeah. So what you guys had said on this one was it was blown out there at the bottom. It looked like the panel was cut a little bit too long, so it was putting pressure on it and applying it outward. So it popped some of your guys' staples out, stuff like that. So what we did is we popped this panel out of place. I actually popped the backside panel out of place so I could remove the screws that secured this down. And then I took this over to the table saw, took off like 1/4 inch maybe, if that. And then came back, put it back on, stapled it back in place. Used some wood putty to try to cover the holes over the staples as best as possible. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a lot better than shiny staples. And then we did the silicone in the corner like the manufacturer originally had.
That nice little caulk line.
Wow,
there.
you're a master caulker.
Oh, that was good.
For the sink, for the sink, we didn't really be able to do much with that. We're thinking either the internals or something wrong is with it potentially, but we didn't have the right faucet
We
to be able
didn't
to
give
replace.
enough timeline on that to order the correct part. We were like, we think it's the gasket. We don't need anything else. It wasn't the gasket.
I think in the meantime, you guys could get away with, whenever you turn off your water pump, just bleeding the water out of there and getting rid of the pressurized water that's in the lines currently.
Perfect.
I think that's
Works.
probably the main issue is maybe when you guys are traveling on the road, that valve's getting opened a little bit. And with that built up pressure in the line still, it's just leaking a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
That's like the easiest thing anyway.
I think
That's like
that
the
will
least.
help. If not, you probably have to replace it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
might be the cartridge, which is in here, which you can't replace. You have to replace the entire faucet. But
We'll give it a go.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, it drips every once in a while. Like, we
Yeah.
don't really care. So.
and then for the bathroom shower. So you guys had basically noted that, and I still have the tape here. This was bowing out a little bit.
Oh, that looks so much better.
Don't take my silicone. Okay. Yeah, so it's still bowing out a little bit, not as much. What I did was basically just use extra screws to force it down, and I try to evenly space it all the way around the entire base. That way it didn't look out of place on just the one wall.
Yeah, it looks spectacular.
It's still bowing out a little bit here, but it's maybe like a quarter-inch gap versus like the half-inch gap that was there before. So did that, made it look uniform all the way around, and then just used clear silicone to fill in the gaps there again. So
Incredible.
that is
Thank
going to
you.
be wet, so you guys will need to let it dry for about 24 hours.
Okay.
Before running the shower again, probably.
Perfect.
But after that, you guys are good to go.
Awesome. Thank you. That looks top notch.
We got some info on what struts to use in here when we get a new topper.
Oh.
I told him that you finally aren't sleeping well on the mattress.
You don't notice how one night, on it, it'll straighten your back out, right?
It
And then
did,
After that, my hips hurt.
Yeah.
Look at this. We got four people in here. This
I don't know. People say it's a
That's right.
small. It is.
18 feet, baby.
And wait, me and you are what, both 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
6'1".
you're a tall guys.
We're
Yeah.
still fitting in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It looks small on the outside. You're on the outside. You're like, there's no way I'm gonna fit inside of there, right?
Right.
And then you do. Well, we are all set. Thank you guys so much. Honestly, we're all ready to go now. We don't know where we're going. We're going to Colorado, but then who knows where? But we'll be. Our to-do list is finally crossed off.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could help you guys out. And I'm Tyson Labrum, and this is Darren, our technician, and I'm the service writer here. So I'm really glad to meet these guys and get back on the road in a timely fashion, and it was fun hanging out with them.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
guys.
Thank you
Nice
so
to meet
much.
ya.
Yeah. You too.
TJ.
Appreciate it.